In a world of raptors, warriors and even rogues, here's a completely different sort of ute. It's the Isuzu D-MAX SX 1.9 single cab chassis. Is this all the ute you really need? Let's find out.
Since its generational overhaul in 2020, the Isuzu D-MAX's popularity has only increased. The 1.9 arrived in 2022 to flesh out the bottom end of the range. Be aware though, this rear-wheel drive auto is not cheap. On the road, as it stands here, it will set you back nearly $44,000. As we speak, that's almost $10,000 more than the manual equivalent, which has a drive-away offer currently attached. So when it comes to design, this vehicle is as basic as it gets. A single cab body, 17-inch steel wheels, and our test vehicle gets this optional tray for just under $3,000.
This turbo diesel 1.9 litre 4-cylinder engine isn't a new design, but it is new to Australia. Power and torque claims are competitive with the Toyota Hilux Workmate 4x2 turbo diesel, and fuel consumption claims are also in the ballpark.
6-speed auto sourced from highly rated Japanese supplier Aisin drives the rear wheels, and it comes with a manual mode function if you slide the lever to the right.
It's all about working efficiency when you jump in the D-MAX SX. It's black as night in here with barely any contrasting trim.
You should be able to make yourself comfy behind the steering wheel. It adjusts for reach and rake, and the seat for height. The seat is also a generous size for a truck like this, but there's no power adjustment of the seat, and the aircon is a pretty basic single zone setup. You can store the essentials in the D-MAX SX cabin thanks to the glove box, shelf, various bins and cup holders, but there is nowhere to store stuff of any size. That all goes in the back.
The D-MAX SX steps it up a bit when it comes to infotainment. You can get cabled or wireless Apple CarPlay connection and cabled Android Auto connection. The screen itself though is only 7 inches and it's got pretty grotty graphics, and the buttons down here quite hard to read.
There's a few items missing here like satellite navigation, so plug in your phone for directions.
The D-MAX SX has a very simple instrument cluster. Speedo, tacho, just what you expect. But then in the centre, there's a quite sophisticated digital readout to cover things like trip computer information, and there's also a speedo as well. All good stuff, and there's plenty more to dig around in there, all controlled off the steering wheel.
You get a reversing camera with a muddy low-res view, and there are no front or rear parking sensors to provide an audible warning if you're close to making contact. Those sensors are among the few things the D-MAX SX misses out on when it comes to safety and collision protection. It gets a lot of other kit and a 5-star ANCAP rating as well.
Okay, let's check out the tray. At more than 2.5 metres long and nearly 1.8 metres wide, you can fit a lot of stuff in here. The sides and the tailgate drop down to help with loading and unloading, but there's no side step or anything like that to help an old bloke like me clamber in and out.
And let's talk some numbers. The tray is not only big, but can take a payload close to 1,200 kilograms. That's about 250 kilograms more than the most expensive D-MAX of them all, the X-Terrain dual cab, and for about $30,000 less. Note the high rider ground clearance too, great for getting your load onto a building site.
But does the ability to carry bigger loads make the D-MAX SX a lesser drive? There's only one way to find out. Let's hit the road with and without loads and see what we find out. So if you were to jump out of one of the top spec dual cab utes into the D-MAX SX, you'd be in for a bit of a culture shock. It's louder, slower and coarser riding than one of the current star cars like the Ford Ranger.
Ride inputs are especially noticeable without a load on board. This vehicle comes with a heavy-duty 3-leaf rear suspension that's designed to carry stuff. So we loaded up 650 kilograms and headed out to see what happened.
The good news is, chuck a load in the back and the ride definitely settles down, even if you've pumped up the tyres in line with the placard. In fact, with a substantial weight thrown in the back, I reckon the D-MAX SX behaves better than any dual cab ute we've put through the same process.
Maybe that's because the single cab allows the load to be more centred, meaning weight balance is better than a dual cab. It all adds up to clean steering and confident stability when cornering.
On the other hand, it's no surprise the engine really does feel the stress. Look, it's a game unit, but without a load, let alone with one, it's working hard. And there's also plenty of gear hunting going on climbing the hills.
No surprise, fuel economy takes a beating when the D-MAX SX is hauling weight. It climbed from about 8.5 to 12 litres per 100 kilometres during our test loop that included suburbia, freeway and undulating country roads. Let's talk some more numbers. The D-MAX SX comes with a 6-year 150,000 kilometre warranty, service interval spaced at 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, and a cap price service plan that comes out a bit over $3,000 over 7 years. In a world of increasingly expensive play utes, the D-MAX SX stands out by not standing out. This ute is all work and no play, but it's not fair to call it dull. It's a game performer, has good safety equipment levels and copes really well with a load. But for businesses on a budget, and who in business isn't these days, it's easy to see the price penalty of the auto swaying buyers towards the D-MAX SX manual.
So is the Isuzu D-MAX SX all the ute you need? Well, no, not if you want your ute to double as a family and getaway vehicle as well. It's too focused and functional for that. It's all about the work site, not the campsite.